Hey everybody, Professor Hatch talking about the character analysis outline right now. Let me share my screen. I think I need to share my entire screen. Yep. All right. So this is the essay on Canvas. Obviously, you're going to be seeing this video, but it starts off with please watch the video. So hopefully you're doing that right now. As you can see though, so a full outline you'd have your introduction, all three body paragraphs, and a conclusion, and then all of the necessary parts of the introduction would be. Let's actually look at the character analysis essay prompt and go to the basic essay structure page. This up here is a full outline for a 5 paragraph essay like this. Um, yeah, introduction, body one, body two, body three, conclusion, and then you'll see that the introduction and the conclusion each have their 3 parts, and that the body paragraphs have a section in here called analysis. Let's get rid of this. I'll have to figure out what part of that is missing, but that's not for this assignment. In any case, the body paragraphs here, I've already taken out the analysis. You don't need to do that. And if you look at the Word doc, this is the student outline template. I've already downloaded it and tweaked it a little bit for the purposes of this video. This is how I would approach writing this essay if it were assigned to me. So I am just assuming you've already spent time on the basic essay structure page, or that you already have a grasp on good essay structure from your English. Well, oh God, what is it now? C1000 class. If not, please spend some time on the basic essay structure page. Essay structure is worth 50% of the grade on every essay you write, so you're not going to be able to pass the class unless you get, maybe you can pass the class, but it'll be by the skin of your teeth. Really, you need to spend time learning essay structure. And we will talk about it a bit in class, but really that's a C1000 thing, so I'm just assuming you know it. Okay. In any case, this is the outline template that I have tweaked. The first thing I did, and this video is going to be a bit longer than most just because it's the first outline I'm asking you to write for the semester. Before doing anything else, the prompt says that we have to look at the critical thinking or the lack of critical thinking of 2 characters in Parable of the Sower. Well, I've decided on Lauren, who is the main character, and Lauren's father. And I'm just going to talk about Lauren in 2 body paragraphs. I'm going to talk about her father in 1 body paragraph. Um, the thesis statement, we're not going to bother with that at all right now. Um, Looking at this, you could just start, like, I guess, writing your essay, start by writing the intro and end with your thesis and then go into your first body paragraph. I really think that's a mistake because it's really easy to get lost 20 minutes in. This has happened to me a million times. I know it's happened to you, literally all of you. Like 20 minutes in, you're like lost. You forget what your main point is. You feel like you're like wandering around a swamp trying to figure the exit. And it's a giant pain in the ass. So, like, I'm saying before anything else, we're going to write 3 topic sentences. And I haven't been teaching this book for a while, but it's been a minute since I've actually read through it. So, off the top of my head, and I think I'm spelling her name right, but Lauren shows critical thinking ability when she realizes that the situation with her neighborhood, is unsustainable, and she knows she'll have to be ready to, I don't know, to run when everything crumbles or or whatever. So this is not the greatest sentence in the world, but it's doing the work it needs to do. I'm going to stop my screen share for a minute and look you in the eye. So there's something that hopefully we've talked about in class by the time you're watching this, but if you weren't in class for whatever reason, or if I forgot to talk about it because I'm old and senile, um, a lot of students think that there's a really like the best way to write an essay in terms of like just the amount of time you have and like getting through the assignment is to just write the thing, write it like the night before it's due or whatever, and then turn it in. That is a terrible idea. Writing is not a chore that you have to knock out as fast as possible the way you would do, say, with like laundry or doing the dishes or whatever. This is actually writing and being a good writer, which is the point of this class. My job is to make you a better academic essay writer. Writing is a process. Every book you've ever read started out as shit. And I mean that. I mean that. So, like, every single essay begins as a shitty rough draft. Um, Shakespeare plays, right? Every movie, Avengers Endgame started out as a rough draft that sucked. And then like it's a process. It begins as shit, and then you revise it, you make it better, you make it start by making it suck less, and then you like make it look better, you get it formatted correctly, and then you actually like make your final revisions so that it actually kind of reads well and all that. It is a process. That's why we are doing outline assignments in this class. Every single essay will begin as an outline. You will then take that outline and turn it into a rough draft. You'll give each other feedback on the rough draft, make final revisions based on the feedback you get from each other, and turn in your final draft. And then I will grade your essay. And if you are in less than a 90, you can take my feedback and revise it and resubmit it for a higher grade. This whole thing is a process. It's really a good idea to get your head wrapped around the idea that writing is a multi-stage process. So if every good essay begins as a shitty rough draft, this is the outline. This isn't even a shitty rough draft. This is the shittier version of the shitty rough draft. I know I'm swearing a lot. I hope you don't have kids in the room or anything. If you do, I apologize. Tell them I'm an idiot, and then I don't know. I'll give them a cookie. I'll give you a cookie to give to them. So let's go back to sharing the screen. Okay. So this is my topic sentence for the first body paragraph. And we're going to stop right there and go on to the next body paragraph. We're going to write all three topic sentences before we do anything else. Let's see. So, um, Lauren's father, and he's got a name, but I can't remember what the hell it is right now. The name in my head is Reverend Olamina, but he's got an actual name too. Lauren's father fails to employ critical thinking by insisting that society will return to the way it used to be when he was younger and things were better. I think we would all recognize this as wishful thinking. If we're talking about logical fallacy, this would be maybe an irrational appeal to, I don't know, tradition. Um, this is Lauren is taking a look at the world she lives in and recognizing that it's all going to hell and that things are going to change and they're going to change faster than they want them to, and that she needs to be ready for it. They all need to be ready for it, but they're not listening to her. She knows she needs to be ready. Her father, he doesn't want to accept the truth. He's still riding his bike to work every day, which, I mean, most people can't afford a car. And there's the security situation of outside of the neighborhood and outside of presumably the college campus he works on, everything's kind of chaotic and dangerous. So he's just wishful thinking that things are going to get better. He is 1000% wrong. And if you aren't yet sure about whether or not he's wrong because you're still pretty early in the novel, oh, trust me, he's wrong. Anyway, so that's the topic sentence for the second body paragraph. Or the third body paragraph. Um, in contrast, comma, Lauren continues to show critical thinking skills when she, what would be, oh, I don't know, when she decides to pose as a boy before she and her friends begin their journey north. There. Again, not the greatest topic sentence in the world, but it's giving the information that you need. So now we've got the three topic sentences. Let's actually look at the thesis statement. The thesis statement is put together from the three topic sentences. However, there's a lot of information here, and I don't think you actually need to give the specifics of the critical thinking or the failure of critical thinking. Excuse me, it's 11 o'clock. I've been sitting in this chair for 12 hours. So I think you could just focus on the actual critical thinking. For this essay, you need to name the characters you're going to be talking about in the thesis statement. So let's just do something like this. In the novel Parable of Sower, which, because it's a novel, the title is italicized. Lauren shows, let's see, Lauren shows, oh God, I'm so tired. Lauren shows, oh my God, shows great skill in thinking critically. Wow, I really went like off the deep end there. And her father sadly does not. So in a different type of essay, like if I were writing an essay about why Trump is a bad president, then I would bring up ICE. I would bring up the pointless and stupid war with Iran. I would bring up his terrible handling of the United States economy. And then I would say all of that in my thesis statement, because then you would know that you're going to be reading a body paragraph about ICE, a body paragraph about the war with Iran, and a body paragraph about our economy. You don't need to do that in this because you're talking about Lauren twice. So for this, it's just Lauren shows great skill in her critical in thinking critically, and her father sadly does not. That is not a great thesis statement, but once again, it's allowed to suck. So, and it does, if you turned in an essay with this thesis statement, it would be communicating what it needs to communicate, and I wouldn't take points off for it. Unless it was also like misspelled or whatever, but that never happens anymore thanks to AI. And for the record, if you're using like Grammarly or even like the spelling and grammar check in Word or Google Docs or whatever, I'm fine with that. Genuinely. I have been recommending students do that for my entire career as a teacher. Generative AI, that's a whole different thing. And I know at this point we've talked about it in class, and I hope you read my like 1,000-word essay embedded into the class syllabus about it. Okay, so now I'm going to do a transition. Um, well, Lauren shows that she can look past her emotions and see the world as it is. Her father sadly is stuck in the past. And then let's read those two sentences, this transition and the next topic sentence. While Lauren shows that she can look past her emotions and see the world as it is, her father sadly is stuck in the past. Lauren's father fails to employ critical thinking by insisting that society will return to the way it used to be when he was younger and things were better. Okay, these two sentences are clearly related. They're clearly talking about the same thing. The purpose of a transition is always to transition the reader into the next idea that you'll be talking about in the next paragraph or the next body paragraph. And the formula I tell my students to use, I'm telling you to use, is always this. In addition to X, also Y. So X in this case is Lauren showing her quality critical thinking, and Y is her father failing to think critically. In addition to X, also Y. While Lauren shows that she can look past her emotions and see the world as it is, her father sadly is stuck in the past. I am going to clean this. This is the grammar nerd in me. Her father sadly is stuck in the past. All right. So save that. So that is transitioning us into the next idea. Let's write another transition. So while even though I'm going to use Reverend Olamina, I think that's correct. Even though Reverend Olamina fails to see things as they are, Lauren continues continues to think critically about every situation she's in. I'm going to read that transition with the topic sentence for this last body paragraph. Even though Reverend Olamina fails to see things as they are, Lauren continues to think critically about every situation she's in. In contrast, Lauren continues to show critical thinking skills when she decides to pose as a boy before she and her friends begin their journey north. You actually don't need in contrast now. So just doing that again, even though Reverend Olamina fails to see things as they are, Lauren continues to think critically about every situation she's in. Lauren continues to show critical thinking skills when she decides to pose as a boy before she and her friends begin their journey north. Now, it's a little clunky still, but again, this is allowed to suck. All right. What I'm not going to do for this video is find a quote to support all these things. You guys know how to do that anyway. I've shown you the topic sentences. I've shown you how to build a thesis statement based on the topic sentences. I've shown you the transitions, how to do it, what they're used for, what the formula is in addition to X, also Y. What I will do is give an example of context. And context in essays, at least for this class, should be just thought of as setting up the quote. So Lauren, there are so many different scenes where Lauren knows she needs to be ready to move the second things go bad. So I can't remember what page or chapter this is, but let's just pretend the quote is her talking about putting together her bag of money and a gun and some clothes. So the context for that is going to be Lauren can see how things are going, and in order to prepare for that, she puts together a ready bag. And then the quote can be like the part of the book where she's narrating about what she has in the bag: gun, money, clothes, maybe some food. I can't remember what's all in the bag. So that's just setting up the quote. I'm not going to do that for the other two paragraphs because it's just me repeating the same idea. So yeah, that is, I don't know, This video, by the time it's all said and done, I'm guessing is going to be between 15 and 20 minutes long. And we're probably very close to halfway through with the assignment. I need to find the actual quotes if I were to turn this in as an outline. And I would need to finish writing the context for the other two paragraphs. Right? You could write the context for the other two paragraphs, honestly, right now, as long as you know roughly what the quote is. So really, at this point, it's just about finding the quotes and then putting them in there. And then, of course, when you put the quote in there, even though this is an outline, it's a really good idea to cite the quote in MLA format, which I will let you look up on your own. And of course, if you have questions, feel free to text me or mine. So that is the character analysis example outline. Hopefully this is useful to you. I really hope. And if not, if you have questions, text me on Remind. And because this is the first assignment, weirdly, I'm doing these videos in reverse order. But because this is the first assignment, I want to say this. I want to make a very strong point of this. Text me on Remind 24/7, literally. If you are working on this at 3 a.m., send me a text at 3 a.m. while you have the question fresh in your head. There's nothing worse than going, God, I really need to ask the professor this. And then you wake up the next morning and the question you really needed to ask is completely gone from your head. And now you're just SOL. So like, text me at 3 a.m. Remind does not squawk at me on my phone because I want my students to text me in the middle of the night if that's when they're working on things. When I wake up, I will get back to you as soon as I'm able to. If I have insomnia, which is sadly kind of a common thing in my life, I might text you back at 3 in the morning. Don't be shocked if that happens. I really hope I don't. I really hope I'm asleep, but Anyway, text me on Remind while you're working on this or any other part of the essay 24/7. Please, please, please. I think that's all I need to say now. So I am going to stop talking.